What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today we have another regionals recap. This time around, we have two different people on this video. So it's two people in one video talking about their experience in Seattle. And first off, we're going to kick it off with Eli, who got second place in Seattle with his Xerneas deck, or Rainbow Road as people call it. Xerneas has the attack Rainbow Force, and you play all these different attackers. Rainbow Force relies on how many different types of Pokemon you have on your bench, and so this is what he played. Play the Gallade, the Execute, of course, Maxis, and this is his list. But if you give me a second, we're actually going to see his dad, and we're going to see what his dad plays. So it's actually a father-son combo that made top 8 at Seattle. So give me a second, we'll see his dad list here in a second. Alright, so we just saw Eli's list, who played Rainbow Road, and his dad, Seth, played a Jolteon, Regice, Vileplume deck. So both these players played a very unique decks, very different, but very rogue, and congrats to both of them. Seth got top 8. I won't give away what placement he got, but we got a second place and a top 8. If you don't know, Jolteon has the Flash Ray 70, can't be hurt by basics, and Regice cannot be hurt by EX Pokemon. So a very interesting deck, having Vileplume to shut down items, using Jolteon and Regice to make it where certain attackers can't hurt you. And there you go, there are both their list. This is a very good interview. Hopefully you enjoyed this interview. Hopefully you enjoyed these two lists. They're both two rogue decks, very interesting. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and let's see the interview right now. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today we're doing another regionals recap. This time we're joined by two people. It's actually a father and son combo, which is still amazes me. But let's go over, I guess, introduce yourself first. Whoa, yeah.
Eli Covitz.
Okay.
And Seth Covitz.
Alright, so usually when people play regionals, I mean, most of the hype decks are like Yveltal, Trevenant, some Groudon, but I mean, both of y'all play like two really rogue decks. So before we talk about what happened, let's go over how we decided to pick those two decks.
Okay, so I decided Rainbow Road, and this is a deck I've been testing for a long time. It was something I've been testing winter regionals. California regionals, actually, I was going to play the deck, but our flight got canceled, so we didn't get to go. And like back then, it was like perfected for that tournament, I felt like, because it has a good matchup against Yveltal. And I decided, because I worked so hard on that deck, if I got another chance to play it, I definitely would, and that happened to be Seattle. So.
Was that winter regionals the same time that Sammy played the deck too?
Yeah, he got it off of Keon and me, because he got it off of Keon, who got it off from me. So.
Oh, that's really funny. All right, how about you, Seth?
So I'm a big fan of Trainer Lock in general, and what I've observed from the current format is it's basically a turn one format for the most part. Everybody explodes, everybody's trainer based to see who can get the best turn one. So the best thing you can do to disrupt that is play Trainer Lock. That's why Trevenant is great, and that's why Toad is great. But I felt Trevenant would have a hard time with Yveltal, even though it can get around it. And I felt Toad was going to have trouble with everything else going on. So I really like Vileplume. So we were talking for the past couple weeks trying to figure out what's the best thing to pair with Vileplume, and we thought about everything. We tried the Vespiquen-based things. We were thinking about Mega Mewtwo. We were thinking about just too many different crazy things. And usually I over-tech to the max, and it never works out. Which is why this is my first interview. I'm just kidding. And so chatting with Eli, and we were like, we really need to pare it down. And so I really liked Jolteon in the format, and I really liked Regice as well, because if you get it set up, not a lot of people are expecting, and there's not a lot people can do to play around it. And so I'm not like the most skilled player out there, so I like the decks where once it gets set up, it's good to go, and this was, pretty much that.
All right, that's very cool. All right, so let's go into regionals, and I think we said that Eli's going to go first. What happened to Swiss? What'd you play against? How'd it go, and all that stuff?
Okay, so round one, I played against Arthur Howell, who's running Yveltal, and that was like the first round. It was a really easy 2-0 because I just got set up, and I think game 2 I donked him with Glade. And he started with Darkrai, and didn't get really anything set up. So I just really ran him over. He didn't expect it, so that was really easy. Round 2, I played against John Oldale, He was a Polka Dad. He was running Rainbow Road as well, actually. Um, like it was a maxi version with a lot of like the stage ones, so it was kind of like the standard version. So it wasn't that great. So I was able to set up really quickly and run him through. Round three, I actually played against TJ, who won the whole thing, and I actually ran him over too, 2-0'd him. He didn't expect it, and yeah, like, it was really quick. Round four, I played against Travis on the list. He was running the Trev. I think he top forward. And that match was actually streamed. I got destroyed pretty easily. Trev is a really bad matchup, and yeah, it was bad. Round five, Justin Knowles, also Evil Tall. He didn't see it before, never seen Rainbow Road. I easily 2-0'd him. Round six was Sabrina Prims. She was playing a Manectric Jolteon Garbodor. And I also 2-0'd that because I was able to one-shot everything, and she wasn't able to set up her Jolteons. So that was, yeah. Round seven was Jorge Garcia. He was running a Trevenant as well. And I actually managed to win this matchup. He wasn't able to set up his turn one Trevenant, and I got Yveltal out, and I was able to win the matchup. Like, it was really, really close, because eventually he would get the Trev out. But I was able to one-shot everything, and he couldn't recover. And game two, I knew my only way to get through was either to tie this matchup, because there's no way I can win. There's no way I can 2-0 him. So he gets all his Trev set up and everything, but I'm just like benching as many things as I can to hopefully go to time, so hopefully I can get the tie. But game one took so long that I went off of time because we didn't get to complete game two. And round eight, I played my dad. We just went for the tie. So, yeah.
It was like the perfect moment to play each other.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So, how about you, Seth, before we go to Eli's top cut?
All right. So for round one, I played Nathan Corey, and he was playing Speed, Yveltal, Darkrai, Lasers. I won the flip, got Vileplume out turn one, Jolteon turn two, which is sort of what you want to do. So it was a pretty easy game. Game two, he went first, but I was still able to get Vileplume out my turn one, Jolteon my turn two, and he really just didn't have an answer or anything he could do, so that was pretty straightforward. Round two, I played against a good friend, Nabil, from the Bay Area, and he was playing his version of Rainbow Road. His son, Caden, is doing extremely well, winning many, many regionals and state championships out here on the West Coast.
He just won his fourth regionals, right? Was his fourth or third?
One of those two. He's doing
Caden's
fantastic.
he's crazy this year. First of all, if y'all don't know Caden, he is like, I think he's won 4 regionals if I remember correctly. But sorry about that. You keep going.
Yes, he's a good friend of ours, and they were playing. Nabil was playing his version of Rainbow Road, but he had teched in a Jolteon and an Espeon. So that's a really interesting thing because he's got Espeon for my Jolteon. I've got Regice for his Jolteon, and so it was really sort of a back and forth, very long game one. We were pretty sure we weren't going to get to a game two, but I sort of figured out later in that game that really all I had to do was Lysander up 2 Shaymans, and I could take the last 4 prizes and finish it. And so I was able to pull that off, and then under trainer lock, it was sort of hard for him to sort of disrupt me from doing that. And so I was able to get the win. And then game two, I can't really remember what happened. I sort of feel like we didn't finish, so I took the game there. In round three, I played Matthew Chen, who's a really great player from the Seattle area Team X-Files, I believe. He was playing Night March. I think he was sort of disappointed with the matchup because once again I won the flip. Once again I got turn one Vileplume, turn two Jolteon, and he just couldn't do anything, so he scooped pretty quickly. Game two, he went first, but also again a turn one Vileplume, turn two Jolteon, and he wasn't able to do much there, but he was incredibly nice and gracious player, and so I enjoyed playing him. Round four is where it got kind of interesting. I was playing against a player named Alex McNeil, and they had given us an hour-and-a-half lunch break, and so we'd all come back from lunch and set up and ready to play, and he was late coming back. So I think I was at table one, so we were both at table one, and he was like 5 or 10 minutes late. So when he finally came, they gave him this special marcation on the thing that basically said he would not be able to win if we tied. He would have to win out. He won the flip. He was able to get Gallade out. Gallade is really bad for my deck in its current form because it one-shots Jolteon, and Regice can't do much either to that. And so he was able to blow through me pretty quickly. Then game 2, I was able to get the Vileplume out turn 1, Jolteon turn 2 like I'm supposed to, and so I win that one pretty easily. So then we went on to a game 3. I whiffed the Vileplume. I had a really slow start, so it was going back and forth, and it went to time. And so he pretty much had the game in hand. He would be able to knock out one thing, and then all I had to do was Lysander for the next thing. So he knocked out the first thing via Secret for the Lysander. So I was turn 2, he was turn 3, so he really had it. There was sort of, almost nothing I could do. But Regice has a paralysis attack, and so I sort of saw that this was coming or going to happen, and so I had set it up in advance. I put Regice in the active, still under trainer lock. I rolled the dice, and I got heads. So he stayed paralyzed, was unable to attack me, took the tie, which resulted in a win for me due to him being late. So he was incredibly nice about it, all things being equal, and he probably would have won if we had one more turn. If I couldn't probably paralyze forever, he would have won. But I was happy. I took that onto round 5. I'm not going to complain. I actually went 4-0 in Seattle Regionals the year before, so I was sort of in a deja vu moment. But that last year, after I went 4-0, I tanked and went 0-4. So this year I was like, I need to go a couple more rounds before I feel better.
Yeah.
So this round 5 was kind of like a pivotal round for me mentally. I played against Troy Obernotti, who was playing Toad Manectric Bats, and it was also too much for him. I can't even remember if I went first or not, but once I got Vileplume and Jolteon out, he really couldn't do much with Toad. He couldn't do much with Manectric, and Bats, I would one-shot all the Bats whenever he would bring them up to stall, so those games were not close at all. Round 6, I played against Steve Barry, who was playing Turbo Darkrai. This was an interesting one where I can't remember who went first, but we played a really long game 1, and I was pretty certain I had sewn up the game, and I wasn't sure why he was playing it out, even though I had already pretty much won the game, but it took a really long time, so I was thinking, okay, we'll play a really long game 1, and then if we don't finish, fantastic. So we played a really long game 1, which I won, and then game 2, he was able to win really quickly. He got set up with everything he needs. Another challenge for this deck is the Turbo Darkrai decks. If they can get everything so that Darkrai can one-shot Jolteon, and they can Lysander at the right time before I'm able to get the second energy on Jolteon, then I have a tough spot because I can't get the lock going. And so he was able to do really well, and so I lost a short game 2, so they went on to game 3, which I didn't count on. Then, of course, we weren't able to complete that game, and so it resulted in a tie. Round 7 went on to Richard Reynolds. He's also the guy I played in top 8, but in round 7, he was playing Turbo Darkrai. I won the flip. These were really short games. Turn 1 Vileplume, turn 2 Jolteon. He scooped in less than 5 minutes. By that time, I was still table 1, and so a lot of onlookers and people watching, and they just couldn't believe how quick that game was. Game 2 was much more interesting and more fun. I could not get the Vileplume going, and he was able to set up and do everything he wanted to do, but I noticed he really didn't have anything to deal with Vileplume, with Jolteon head on. He always had to work around it. And so basically what I did is I cleared my field of all other Pokemon and left alone Jolteon to see what he would do. And so the only thing he could do was try to Xerosic my energy, but I always had plenty of energy in hand every single time he did that, and so I won that game as well. But he was incredibly good sport about it, and we ended up meeting in the top 8. And then in round 8, I was against Eli. Very happy. Table 1, father versus son. I can brag that I was the higher seed at that moment. But we didn't actually play it out. I think Eli was worried that he would lose if we played it out, but I think it's whether he would get Gallade or not that would make the difference.
Because Gallade, his deck has no counter to Gallade, so if I just get the turn 1 Gallade, then hopefully I do well. But
yeah, that's true. Premonition is really good under item lock.
Right.
All right, so going to day 2, how are y'all feeling the night like before? Y'all are like super excited, like y'all nervous. Like how do y'all feel?
Well, I didn't know what my top 8 opponent was playing, and I was just worried it was going to be another Trev. Because I noticed top 8 was full of Yveltal, right? Like half of it was Yveltal. I was just like praying that my opponent would be Yveltal, but I had no idea what he was playing. So I was kind of nervous, but I was just happy I got top 8 with my deck.
Yeah, for me, I was pretty tired by that point. It was like 10 o'clock. We hadn't eaten dinner, standard Pokemon story. I knew who my opponent was. It was the same opponent who I had beaten quickly in round 7. So I felt good about it, but I also knew that anything can happen. And I was a little bit worried if I were to beat him, I might have to play Trev. And I wasn't really sure how the Trev matchup would go. I just think item lock has a difficult time with item lock in general. And my deck is more suited for that than his, I think, since I know I'll be under item lock myself the entire time, where Trev assumes it won't be. But still, I never tested it, and so I was debating, do I really want to stay up late and test it or not? But I think we just ate and went back to the hotel and crashed instead.
That's always what I do. Never test, just alright, we're just going to sleep, we'll see what happens tomorrow. So, alright, so this time let's let Seth go first. Let's talk about your top cut experience.
Yes, so my top cut experience, I got to play against Richard again. Great guy, outstanding player. And, he sort of let me know ahead of time that he'd been thinking about the matchup. Of course, we had played before, and he was going to try something different. So I think in this case, I sort of overthought things a little too much. Throughout day 1, I'd actually played pretty conservatively, keeping all resources in my hand, not doing too much AZing of Vileplume to get trainers going, and just sort of waiting patiently. If they kill the Vileplume, then I can explode. If they Lysander, then I AZ. Just sort of being really, really patient. And so what happened was, game 1, I won the flip. Turn 1 Vileplume, turn 2 Jolteon, as expected. Very quick game. He scoops. Game 2, he has a super explosive start. I mean, he must have had almost all his energy on the board turn 1, and so he was able to do the thing with Darkrai one-shotting Jolteon before I could attach. My deck doesn't have any energy acceleration. That's probably one thing I would try to add, and so I have to do 2 manual attaches, which when it works out, it works out. But if they're able to one-shot things before I can get set up, then that's a problem. So he just blew through me game 2. So game 3, I was having a hard time. I whiffed the Vileplume, and I sort of knew what he was going to do. I knew his strategy was going to be to Zerosic all my energy away. So I thought I would be smart, but I think I was too smart, and I attached too much energy to one Jolteon, thinking, okay, go ahead, Zerosic it away, I'll still have plenty left over, which wasn't smart. And I also overextended by playing my puzzles early and getting rid of Bunnelby early. So it came down to the end where I basically had 2 blends on one Jolteon and a DC on another, and no energy left and no way to get the energy back. And so I had the Lysander in hand. If I was able to move that energy to one of the Jolteons, I would have easily had the game in the match. But I just had no way to get the energy back or to move it or to do anything, and so he won. He was a great player, so I don't feel bad losing to him at all, and he played the matchup as well as he possibly could have.
I mean, but still, top 8 with Jolteon, Regice, Vileplume is still pretty crazy, so congratulations on that part.
Thank you.
Alright, so let's go to Eli. Let's talk about your top cut experience.
Alright, so top 8, I was playing against Oliver Barr. He's playing, Like, I was really nervous because I didn't know what I was expecting, and then he flipped over Yveltal, and I was like super relieved, especially since I started with Xerneas. And this matchup, I think I 2-0'd him relatively easy against him because like I was drawing everything. Every time he'd have a silent lab, and I hit like almost all my rebirth flips on Ho-Oh. So I was just, I don't know, it was running super hot. I was able to counter everything he had, and I just won those two matchups relatively quickly. And after that I was like watching my dad, hoping he would maybe win, so we would play each other in top 4, but that didn't really happen, so he lost. So I ended up playing his opponent, which was a Speed Darkrai. And I was really confident going in this matchup. I mean, I've 2-0'd every Yveltal I played against this whole tournament, and it was Speed Darkrai. He didn't play Fury Belts, he had no Silent Labs, he didn't really have anything to counter. So I was really confident. Game 1, I rolled him pretty quickly. And then game 2, I kind of got off to a really slow start, and he ended up getting a Lysander off the prizes and winning. And I was kind of surprised, a little worried too, because this is like my first loss. But game 3, the deck worked for me, and I got a pretty quick win. So then we go into the finals, and it's against TJ. And he thinks he's going to lose, because we played before in Swiss, and I mean, I destroyed him. But I was a little bit worried, because he's playing the toughest variant of Yveltal for me. He was playing the Silent Lab, he had Gallade, fighting Fury Belt, and he had 2 Fright Knight Yveltals, which is kind of dangerous for me, because my form of retreat is just Floatstone. It's like the NDCE, I guess. It's my only ways to retreat. So it was against the toughest version. And game 1 went really well for me. He was dead drawing too, but I dug a little bit too hard, and I ended up decking myself out, thinking I had 1 VS Secret left, but it was actually my prizes, and I didn't check that. So I ended up decking myself out, so I couldn't end out of it. And then game 2, I started a bit slow as well, so I was really worried. I was like, all right, it's over. But I eventually drew out of it, and he was kind of slow start too, so I was able to win game 2. And so then I was kind of excited. I'm like, all right, game 3, I draw like the most perfect hand. I have Computer Search, Hoopa, Battle Compressor, but I'm going second, and he ends me. And then I draw into nothing, and I'm like, oh, this is great. So he gets a pretty quick start. He Fright Knights, he takes 3 prizes off of me, and then finally I do set up, and I think I might still have a chance, and I'm like trying to hit, but I just kept on whiffing it, everything I needed, and eventually he did just Lysander for an easy win.
But I think I was watching on the stream. They were streaming it, and I was sitting right behind him and watching on the stream. And in both game 1 and game 3, he was 1 turn away from winning both of those games.
Right. Yeah. So.
But still, I mean, so obviously the deck is like really, really good, and second place is great. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I remember TJ. He even like posted a thing on Facebook. He said, "Watch me lose on stream." Like that was his status on Facebook before the finals, and I was like, "All right." I didn't even watch the finals because I thought you won as well. I was like, "All right, this is game." And then I heard he messaged me saying he won. I was like, "There's no way!" Like so confused.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, like second place, like I think it's still amazing with Rainbow Road. So congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so I guess we'll start talking about the list. I really don't know where to go with Rainbow Road. Like it's such like a unique concept. Like I don't like so many different attackers. All right, so you did play. Let's see, the Yveltal. You played the Keldeo. You played the Water and the Dark. Did you ever attack with Keldeo?
Sorry, one more time?
Did you ever attack with your Keldeo?
No.
No?
I didn't. I didn't get the chance to know.
Would you ever have switched the Water Energy to anything else, or you think it's fine like it is?
No, it was fine, because I have nothing else. Like, the energy is there for the rebirth, mainly. It's not really for anything else, and I didn't have any other attackers, so, like, the Water was the best, I think.
Okay. Was there any other attackers you wish you had, or no?
Maybe Jolteon. Like, I was thinking it might be good, but in that tournament, I didn't really need any other attackers. Like, I was really happy with my list.
Okay. And would you make any changes to it, or do you think it's, like, perfect after playing, like, all those rounds?
I would cut the Gallade into Maxis. I was expecting a bit more Jolteon, but I only played against an extra Jolteon that whole tournament. And even then, I didn't really get to use it, because I would just one-shot all the Nectrix, so she couldn't get the Jolteons set up. So, instead, like, maybe I'll put in another AZ, like, put in an AZ, because that's like another form of retreat. If I start with Ho, I can pick that up. It's also good against Fright Knight Yveltal. because that's like one way they win, right? They just Lysander, and then I have Float Stone type, so I can't retreat. So AZ might be good, and then I don't know, maybe a Jolteon could have been the second card, or maybe a Getsis. I don't know, but I felt those two were underwhelming. So like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I originally saw the list, I saw your Gallade, and I thought it was for Trevenant. But yeah, I kind of forgot about Jolteon. Like, I just thought I like Gallade would be like kind of the answer. But how would you say the Trevenant match usually goes? Is it just usually just really bad?
Well, yeah, it's pretty bad. If I go second, I lose. If I go first, I have a chance because I can just set up explosively, get like Ho-Oh, and get Eviltal and a Xerneas set up with a Hoopa, Ho-Oh, and if I have Hoopa, I can get like the Jirachi out, set myself up with Lysander just in case. And if I go second, I have to pray I have Hoopa in hand, so I can get Jirachi and Shamans and Yveltal. But I mean, the only way I have a chance is if I go first. Usually. So.
Did you ever get the 250 or whatever it is, the Rainbow Road?
No, actually.
Oh.
I mean, I had opportunities where I could, but usually I just want to. If you bench that much and you get your Skyfield knocked out, I mean, I was playing safe that tournament, so.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, Seth. So let's go to your list. So you played what, the 2 Jolteon, the 2 Regice. You played the 1 Execute, which obviously is for like propagation, and whereas Eli's list is kind of good to like bench and stuff, and like have it as a good starter. But yours is like it's never like I don't like. Did you ever regret having the Execute in your deck or no?
It was actually a joke, sort of, because I had many versions of the deck, and so I started with lots of different variants, trying to see what's the right engine to get the most consistency. You know, the Vileplume turn 1, Jolteon turn 2. And I had tried like variants of your list and variants of Andrew Wembolt's list, and they're all like very battle compressor heavy. And so I figured this is I should play the Jirachis and the Skylas and the Comp Searches and the Eggs and the whole 9 yards. But I'm not really skilled with battle compressor. I always like never know what the right thing to get rid of is, and I always make a mistake there. And so when I was iterating on it like 1 a.m. the night before the tournament, I was like, just drop all the battle compressors. So I dropped all the battle compressors, but forgot about the egg. I left the egg in, and I actually never. I think I used it once the entire tournament in the way that it was meant to be used. Luckily, I never started with it, but yeah, it's a dead card.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was asking because you didn't play the battle compressor, so I was like, how did he get the egg in the discard pile? Like that's, I guess you can level ball. Oh man, that'd be so bad. Like level ball just for an egg, just to ultra ball it away. Like,
Yeah, usually you want a level ball for an unknown or an oddish or a gloom or a bunny, something more useful.
yeah, that's true. All right, so you did play the 3 puzzle time. Do you ever wish you had the 4th one? Like, was the 3 the perfect number?
Again, this is one of those things where I was looking at Andrew Wembolt's new Sableye Vanillix thing. I was trying to think of a Sableye Vileplume deck for a very long time, but I could never get it to work. And so I saw his, and I figured he probably got it to work, but it wasn't ideal, which is why he was it. But nonetheless, I saw that he was able to make 3 times work, so I thought, all right, I'll try 3 as well. I definitely think I would have preferred to have 4 because recovery is really big. And as I said, the best part about the deck is people don't know what to do. They can't touch Jolteon, so they're like, all right, Lysander or something. Might as well kill the Vileplume, so at least I'll have my trainers back. But when they do the Vileplume, they kill the Vileplume, then I get the puzzles, I get teammates, I get all these things, and it takes me very little effort to put the Vileplume back. Plus, I get to use all my trainers I've been stacking in my hand for a long time. So yeah, I think if I were to play it again, I would definitely go with four puzzles.
All right, you talked about how you'd probably cut the egg, probably add a puzzle. Were there any other cards you wish you'd cut or add into the deck, or you think it's pretty good?
I definitely would change a couple more things, though I'm not sure how I'd fit it all, but the bunny is tough. So, like, the bunny is a way to get things back, but you usually get 2 energies back or something back, and then it's going to get 1 shot. And so I'm not so sure if I would play bunny if I was going to play 4 puzzles. And I would definitely like another AZ, I would like another AZ, another Lysander, and that would probably be good, and another VS Seeker. But the reason is that the great part about Vileplume is, people want to get around Jolteon and they want a Lysander, or they want a Hex, or they want an N, and they really want to do two of the three, but they can't do two of the three. They can do one. And then, if Vileplume's still in play, then they can't use their Lysander again if they only play one, or they can't use their Xerosic again, so it's hard for them. But it's equally hard for me. I can't AZ and AC VS Seeker Lysander something either, so I also have to be sort of getting it in my hand and getting it all set up for the big play. So I think an extra AZ would be good. And the Fright Knight is also a problem. Usually you one-shot it with Jolteon, but if they bring up a Vileplume and something and then Fright Knight, then you have to either hit the AZ, let it die before something else dies. And usually it's okay to sacrifice lots of Pokemon because eventually they can't kill the one Jolteon, they'll die. But it might be nice to have a Mime for that, or I think that'd be the best counter for Fright Knight and another AZ. And then for the Gallades that are so difficult, I think Espeon would be really good because for one energy, you can, of any type, you can put the top evolution back in the person's hand. And so it's hard enough to get Gallade out under Trainer Lock, but getting it out a second time under Trainer Lock would be even harder. So I think an Espeon would be good.
Would you ever consider the Mewtwo over Espeon, or would you just always go with the Espeon instead?
That's a good question. I sort of feel like the Espeon will be more versatile, but that's me.
Is much better.
I don't know. Like, the Espeon just needs any energy, while Mewtwo needs the DCE. I don't know. Weird. I don't know. I still like the Espeon for sure. I just know that people are like, you gotta counter Gallade, like, go Mewtwo, and like, you throw this Espeon, and they're like, Espeon does seem really cool. Like, so.
Well, I think Espeon can one-shot it, and Espeon can put it back in their hand, so
Okay.
they can't use the premonition, and it's off the board entirely. So,
Alright, so here's my question to y'all. If this weekend, I don't think y'all are going to Alberta. I think that's really far away. No, Madison's is closest for y'all, right?
yeah, we're in San Jose, so
Yeah.
probably Madison and Georgia are probably equally close.
Okay, so if y'all were going to regionals this weekend, though, what deck would y'all play?
I don't know. I might play the same thing. It's just so good. Especially if people are gonna play Evil again, like I'll totally play my deck.
I feel the same way. Like I said, I'm not the best player. I was able to do really, really well with it, which says something. And I didn't put a ton of time into building the deck, only like 2 days. So if somebody really spent a lot of time with the deck, I mean, you can put Rough Season for Trev. I mean, there's just lots of options. And like I said, nobody really had a counter for it. And so if people are still sleeping on it, after last week, I think you could have a good result.
Yeah, for sure. Alright, so how many championship points you got right now?
I already had my invite. I was like at 300 something. I don't know. My goal was just to get the invite really. Like I wasn't really digging for day 2, but
Yeah, for me, I think I was at 20. So now I have a little bit more. I always play rogue stuff, and so it's just sort of random how well I'll do on a given day. But because Worlds is in San Francisco, which is just up the street from San Jose, I will be there in spirit whether I'm playing or not. But you never know. Maybe I could do something magical at Nationals and then get an invite.
There you go. Have a great run. Yeah, that'd be cool. Alright, guys. Well, do y'all want to give any shout outs to anybody?
I don't know.
I would like to give a shout out to all of our friends in Northern California who we play with all the time. Steve, Emily, Claire, the Chang family, the Poist family, Greg and Justin, Nabil and his sons, as well as Joe, Stefan, Keon, and all the folks in our area who we hang out with and we play with a lot.
You good, Eli? Nobody? We good?
Yeah, same.
That sounds good enough, I guess. Alright, guys. But thank y'all for doing this interview. I really do appreciate it a lot. Like I said before, these are two kind of roguish decks that we really haven't seen. I mean, I think the last time we saw Regice Vileplume was Arizona Regionals, I think. Yeah, it's been a long time since we Regice Vileplume. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I had a lot of fun watching this and listening and learning new stuff about these two decks. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Alrighty. Bye. Alright, guys. Just want to give a quick shout out to our two sponsors, 60 Cards and Yeti Gaming. The links are down below to their websites. Make sure you go check them out. Alrighty.